Hello everyone, welcome back to your daily tarot and astrology. This one's for Friday, April 11th. Let's see, what do we need to know today? What's going to be happening? How can we best prepare? Politically, most of all, what's going on? God, what we've been through this week, this is insane. Insane in the membrane. Okay, Temperance? Yes, be patient. Ace of Swords? Yep, he's lost his mind. But I guess it's the stock market going back up after he decided to just not do all those tariffs with all those other countries. But he's still going after China. Last I checked, it was like 150%. Like it was 85, now it's 150. I don't know. By the time I'm doing this reading on Wednesday, so I can't tell you what's going to happen by Friday because he's crazy. It's impossible to predict crazy. Crazy's crazy. It changes every second. I mean, real crazy. Now, I'm not talking about mental health issues where, you know, a person, well, he has some major mental health issues, but he doesn't seek any type of care, so I'm not going there. What I can say is for the theme for the day being the Ace of Swords reversed, man, I think that this is most of all his memory loss. This is his confusion. This is the chaos that he is sowing within the world. This is global chaos that is Donald John Trump. And all he wants to do is be right and win. But he's losing it, so he doesn't really know what's right or winning anymore. You know, it's like Rachel Maddow said, are you tired of all the winning yet? Come on. And then meanwhile, here we are, first thing in the morning. I hope you guys had some really awesome dreams because the Temperance card does have the power to do that. This is one of the guardian angels, and it's supposed to be Archangel Michael, but some readers call it a different angel, and that's fine, whichever one you want to go by. But it's all about being on your path, and it's all about staying centered and balanced. You know, it comes after the Death card, so there's been big change, and now we're trying to rewrite a new balance in our lives. But coming together with two forms of like yes to this and yes to two people saying yes, a third thing is born, like a relationship. Not for Trump, but for us, we realize now he's batshit crazy and somebody needs to whack him upside the head to reset. Maybe a reset would help. Oh, see, I'm not doing very well at staying balanced myself here, am I? Anywho, keywords with the Temperance as a major arcana, gateway, evolutionary gateway, of course, is moderation, patience, finding your path, purpose, and meaning. Follow your own path is the way I like to look at it. And it's the law of mutuality. Again, so those two things coming together creates a third entity. That's the only way anything is created. No matter what's going on with the Mad King, that's just, I don't know what's going in his head, but it ain't working. And then to end the day with, I think we're all going to have some good energy. I think things will be up for us, but not for him. I can't see that happening. Okay, let's look at the astrology for today. Now, we're getting close to the full moon. It's coming in tomorrow at 23 degrees of Libra, but today, this morning, the moon in Libra is all about balance. It's in the first decan of the sign, so we're developing a new foundation after all of this craziness. Libra also rules the lower back and kidneys. So be careful, today with like lifting anything heavy, and do your best to stay balanced. It is Friday. Sometimes people work harder on Fridays to catch it, to get things all caught up for Monday. Or you're tired because you've worked all week. May very well be that. I do like seeing, and these are exact, real tight aspects. I have the settings for the tight orbs. And I like seeing the aspect of the architect here with Mars at the bucket point at the handle. Because it's bringing in a lot of energy to grow in the direction that you want to grow, that will bring you to as much health and self-care and health as you possibly can. There's opportunities for that. But take good care of yourself, again, especially your back. Do your best to stay balanced. I'm sure that's why we had the Temperance card, even though that's ruled by Sag. But balance and moderation is always a key. One of those big life lessons we all have to get. And then we do have, the two trines headed up to Mercury and the North Node, which they're exactly, within 10 minutes, they're exactly, with that really tight orb. So Mercury gives us messages, and in Pisces it's going to be messages as to what do we devote ourselves to? Where are you on your spiritual path? Are you focusing on things that make you happy? Are you devoting yourself to things that make you happy? It's also a sign for artists and musicians and anything that brings you into that place where you feel at one with all, one with love. But on the dark side now, and just because it's, two blue lines and this line over here is blue, doesn't mean it's all harmony. It just means they're big connectors where the energy comes in really quickly. And so for some people, this can be a lot of energy coming into the awareness, the cognitive understanding. Pisces is definitely a sign of understanding. Mercury has to do, of course, with understanding something mentally, because you've been thrown around all over the place with tariff threats and oh my gosh, and all these economists saying, when you have Jamie Dimon saying, if Trump goes with what he's planning, we are headed for a recession, stagflation and recession. And if it goes on for too long, people are really scared. So we've had the scare, and we're moving towards being more self-sufficient and stocking up, right? That's what you do when Mars is in Cancer. And maybe people are nervous eating, all of that, And so we're thinking about health and safety and security and trying to figure out what's going on when the energy is literally all over the place with this Pisces pileup. So needing to take more self-responsibility than ever is key. Also, of course, we still have the exact square from Ceres to Jupiter, so we are needing to think in bigger terms, gather information as to, nurturing the things that we really care about, lest we may be separated from them. All of this Pisces energy is also the government abuse, Saturn in Pisces, the government abuse when it comes to immigration and people who've been here for years. And, and here we are with like the abuse. Mars can be abusive to the homeland, Cancer, right? So there's the political sphere there. And then here we are with a connection to the facts that were out there in the past. We knew that Trump was going to do this. He said he would. And he'll do everything he can get away with, but he's being sued up the wazoo by so many different judges and states, and there are blocks, there are good things happening to try and protect some of these people, but it's just, this is atrocious. So, but I still think that with Saturn conjunct Venus, because Venus is money. It rules our money and our relationships and everything that we value. And I think that this is going to be tariff troubles and tariff threats all month long. Because people don't feel at ease. People are, he's a terrorist. Trump is a terrorist. And we are feeling just thrown all over the place. And that's not good. That's not good at all. Now, the sextile to Uranus coming from Venus and Saturn, of course, this is a really tight orb. This is this opportunity. You have to work for it, and you have to do it, though, to reinvent yourself and your life in a way that brings in more safety and security. As much as you possibly can, that doesn't rely on the government at all. Because, 90, I think is it like something like 99% of all revenue that's brought in. I read that somewhere, I think it was early this morning, that 99% of all the money brought into the USA goes through small businesses. So these are people who are self-employed and employ others. And yeah. So just remember that. There's a lot that we can all do when we're very creative. So, and then of course, Mercury opposing the South Node exactly is, the message is because it's conjunct the North Node, right? That we can have a breakthrough if we're listening to our guides. Neptune in Aries, there's more, the path forward with your guides, with your higher self. And look how close the sun is to Chiron. It'll be absolutely conjunct tomorrow with that full moon opposing. So there's going to be quite the release coming through tomorrow. And all I can say is the best way for all of us to get through this and to move forward in a really good way is to work towards your independence. Don't be impulsive, but don't abandon yourself. Allow yourself to put yourself first for once and trust your instincts and move forward. Don't freak out, but really do your best at asserting your own independence. And things will eventually work out. And the full moon may release some energy that is so big that it helps. It could bring in a connection in a relationship, or, even with a group of people, it's possible that could come through. And then also, if I let's go to the standard orb so you can see how we do have that trine from the moon to Pluto this morning. And look how tight, look at that flow of energy there. Now you can really see it. So, besides the moon, let's focus one at a time. So the moon, remember, is the mood with the public. The public is going to want to be more at peace, more sociable. They're going to want to connect more with each other, more willingness usually to cross the bridge and see what's on the other side, or let's meet in the middle, right? And then, because it's like, just look at the glyph. It's all right there. But up to the trine, up to Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto brings in the power. Aquarius is the networking, the people. And like I always, keep saying, it's the power of people coming together and networking. Well, we're talking, there's a lot today with networking. There's a lot of support for that type of energy, or for that type of group interaction, and just connecting the dots. So that's wonderful. And then you can also see this other aspect of the architect over here. Remember, the aspects of the architects are building aspects. So there's a lot of building here, creative building, especially if we're connected together. This is that big force and movement of all the peaceful protests. And then with the moon in Libra, headed towards the full moon lunation after, remember the eclipse that we had, the last new moon solar eclipse. This is the full moon lunation after that. So this is releasing all of that energy, and then to have it connect with Pluto the day before is very powerful. And to have Pluto sextiling Neptune over here, because see how Neptune's at 0 degrees of Aries, and then Pluto's only at 3 degrees, so there's only a 2-degree orb there. And there's that opportunity. You have to work for it. We have to do things, We can't just sit there and, well, some things can come in without doing anything, but I bet you've worked for it before if it just comes in finally, with an intention. But Neptune in Aries is that peaceful way forward with your higher self, but you're going forward and you're not leaving yourself out anymore. And then you're connecting, the opportunity to connect with your brothers and sisters, with your kindred spirits, with your like-minded friends, and network together. There's a lot of that possibility today on Friday, or for Friday. So, okay, well, that's it, you guys. Take good care. Bye.